Chosen one, have you ever wondered why so many battles appear in your path? Why does it seem like the world tests you at every step? I want you to know that this is no coincidence. What God does for you, and against those who dare to touch your life, is so powerful that only those who understand this truth experience a profound and unshakable transformation. In the next few minutes, you will discover a secret about divine protection that can change your perspective forever. If you wish to overcome, grow, and live in divine love, this video was made for you. Stay with me until the end, because today you will understand why your faith is the greatest miracle you carry, and how it is the key to unlocking the changes and freedom you seek. Maybe you are feeling overwhelmed, questioning why you face so many difficulties, or why so many people seem to turn against you for no apparent reason. But let me tell you something. This doesn't happen because you are lost, but because you are found. Being chosen means carrying a light so strong that it doesn't go unnoticed, neither in the physical world nor in the spiritual. And this light attracts challenges, but also the powerful protection of God. Stay with me until the end, because today you will understand how every struggle you face is part of a greater plan, and why the divine hand is working to transform your life even when everything seems to be falling apart. I will reveal something that can completely change how you view your mission, how you live your spirituality, and how you use your energy to overcome and inspire. Don't miss this opportunity, because what will be revealed here might be the missing piece for you to feel complete, protected, and at peace with the purpose you carry. Being chosen is a journey of responsibility, not of superiority. Many people confuse the concept of being chosen with the idea of privilege, but in reality, it is a call to fulfill a greater purpose. God chooses those who have the capacity to endure spiritual, emotional, and even physical challenges, because through these trials, their lives become living examples of overcoming in faith. Being chosen means being willing to carry a mission that transcends the individual, serving the collective and the divine plan. You carry a unique light, a glow that attracts both support and opposition. This light is not visible to common eyes, but in the spiritual world, it is like a beacon. People around you, even if they don't consciously understand, perceive this difference in you. Some feel inspired and want to walk alongside you, while others, often driven by envy or misunderstanding, try to extinguish this light. But know this, no attack can extinguish what God has placed inside you. The meaning of being chosen is to be a reflection of God's strength and love. Paraphrasing the scriptures, God is the fortress of his chosen. Whoever rises against them, rises against him. This promise is a shield for those who face intense challenges because of their calling. It is not about never facing battles, but about the certainty that God is by your side, fighting for you and turning each struggle into a spiritual victory. The journey of a chosen one is marked by moments of isolation. This happens because not everyone can understand the depth of your purpose. Many times, God separates you to mold your character, strengthen your faith, and prepare you for something greater. These moments of solitude are not a punishment, but a preparation. Just as a warrior withdraws to train before battle, you are also being equipped with spiritual tools to triumph. Being chosen also means facing the watchful eye of the enemy. When you carry a divine mission, the spiritual world notices. The attacks you face are not by chance. They are an attempt to prevent you from reaching the purpose that God has prepared for your life. But know that God's power is infinitely greater. Each challenge you face is an opportunity to strengthen your faith and prove that you are under divine protection. However, the position of a chosen one is also one of the greatest blessings that someone can receive. God chose you because he saw something special in you, a strength, a faith, and a heart that can make a difference in the world. When you understand that you were called to light the path for others, everything takes on a new meaning. Your life is not just about you. It is about how your actions, words, and choices impact those around you. The spiritual support that the chosen receive is unparalleled. No matter how difficult the challenges are, God never abandons you. He gives you spiritual tools such as discernment, courage, and wisdom to face any situation. Many times, you might not even realize it, but the deliverance you receive in critical moments is proof that God is actively taking care of you. The opposition you face is proof of the impact your life has. If you were not important to God's plan, you would not attract so much attention from the enemy. Every time someone tries to bring you down, know that this is confirmation that you are on the right path. God allows you to go through certain battles not to destroy you, but to strengthen and mold you. When someone touches a chosen one, they are touching the divine purpose. God does not ignore those who attack his chosen ones. Divine justice may not be immediate, but it is certain. Often, the punishment is not visible to human eyes, but in the spiritual world, the consequences are inescapable. God protects his own and ensures that no attack is greater than what you can bear. Being chosen is an honor and a commitment. It is not about living a life without problems, but about living a life with purpose. Every battle you face, every tear you shed, and every victory you achieve is part of a greater mission. You were chosen to be a light in a world of darkness, and that is one of the greatest responsibilities and blessings anyone can receive. From the moment a chosen one understands their mission, their natural glow begins to attract both admiration and envy. This glow is not something you seek or force. It is an intrinsic part of who you are, an essence given by God. However, those who still live in spiritual darkness may feel threatened by this light. This happens because it reflects their lack of alignment with the divine purpose. Your presence awakens feelings they don't even know how to process, and often this manifests as persecution, criticism, and attacks. Chosen ones have a fundamental role in God's plan, and it is exactly this that attracts so much resistance. The mission you carry is powerful, and therefore, the enemy will try in every way to prevent you from fulfilling it. These attacks are not just circumstantial or by chance. They are strategies to divert you from your path. Each difficulty, each slander, and each obstacle aims to weaken your faith and prevent you from reaching the impact you were designed to have in the world. Many of the struggles you face have invisible roots. In the spiritual world, your existence represents a real threat to the forces that want to perpetuate chaos and disorder. When you live in alignment with your purpose, you bring balance, healing, and transformation to the environments you touch. These changes disturb those who are committed to maintaining negative energies, and that is why you become a target of spiritual and physical attacks. Perhaps you have noticed that, at many points in your life, rejection seems to be a constant. Whether in friendships, relationships, or the work environment, you may feel that people do not understand who you really are. This feeling of being out of place is, in fact, confirmation that you are where you should be. The world does not reject the common, but rather what is extraordinary. God has set you apart, and this separation also means facing opposition. It is likely that you have already wondered, why does it seem like everyone and everything is against me, even when I just want to do good? The answer is directly linked to your mission. The chosen carry a transformative energy that challenges standards and brings to light issues that people prefer to ignore. This can make some see you as a threat, even when your intentions are purely genuine. The attacks you suffer are not punishments. They are, in fact, tools for strengthening. God allows certain struggles in your life to prepare you for something greater. Each difficulty you face is training, a refinement, so that you are ready to fulfill your mission with courage and determination. When you understand this, persecutions become viewed as confirmation of your purpose, not as a barrier. Often, the people who attack you do so out of envy, even if they don't admit it. The glow of your essence exposes the limitations they refuse to overcome. They feel there is something in you that they cannot reach, because your light is a divine gift. This envy is not about what you have, but about who you are. They see in you a connection with God that they wish to have, but are not willing to seek. Despite all the attacks, it is important to remember that you are never alone. God protects you in ways you don't even perceive. Many of the battles that could have destroyed you were won by Him before they even reached you. That is why, even in the midst of persecutions, you remain standing. Every attack you overcome is proof that your mission is non-negotiable and that God's plan for your life is greater than any opposition. As a chosen one, you are not just living for yourself. Your life is an example, a light for others. This means that the struggles you face are also lessons for those around you. Each of your victories inspires others to have faith and perseverance. God uses you as an instrument to transform not just your life, but also the lives of those who have the opportunity to observe you. No matter how difficult the persecutions are, remember that God has already written the end of your story, and it ends in victory. The attacks are temporary, but the purpose you carry is eternal. When you understand that every battle has a reason, every tear has a purpose, and every loss is part of the divine plan, you start to see the attacks in a completely different way. You are not just a survivor, you are a winner in the making. Being chosen is not easy, but it is an honor. God does not choose those who are prepared. He prepares those He chooses. And you are being prepared for something great. God does not only protect the chosen ones, He establishes an impenetrable security barrier around them. This protection transcends the physical plane, extending to the spiritual, emotional, and mental. God's care is absolute because he recognizes the unique value of each chosen one in fulfilling his eternal purpose. You are not just an ordinary person, you are part of a greater divine plan. Every battle you face is actually an opportunity for God to demonstrate his power and reaffirm his commitment to those he has called. Every attack against a chosen one is more than a personal affront. It is a direct attack on the divine purpose that God has established. In his sovereignty, God does not allow any attack to go unnoticed or without consequences. When someone tries to harm a chosen one, they stand against the Creator himself, and this brings inevitable consequences. God's justice may seem delayed to our eyes, but it is always accurate and precise. He protects, defends, and ensures that no harm will prosper against those called to fulfill his mission. The Bible is full of accounts that exemplify God's infallible protection over his own. David faced Goliath, an invincible giant in human eyes, but God's strength turned a young shepherd into an unbeatable warrior. Similarly, Daniel was thrown into the lion's den for his unwavering faith. Humanly speaking, his death seemed certain, but God shut the lions' mouths, turning a situation of death into a testimony of faith. These examples show us that when we are chosen by God, no circumstance or enemy can defeat us. Often, God's protection is invisible to our eyes, but it is always present. How many times have you felt surrounded, with no way out, and suddenly something unexpected happened, delivering you? This is not luck or coincidence. It is God acting in your favor. He frustrates the plans of the enemies, preventing their traps from coming to fruition. God's word says that no weapon forged against you will prosper, and this is not just a promise, it is a divine guarantee. One of the most powerful manifestations of divine protection is God's ability to turn attacks into victories. What the enemy plans to destroy the chosen, God uses to build them up. Joseph, in Egypt, was sold as a slave by his own brothers. However, God used that situation to elevate Joseph to the position of governor, saving many lives during a severe famine. What seemed like a plan of destruction became part of God's plan for his promotion. This is what happens with the chosen. Even adversities are used for good. Touching a chosen one is touching the very heart of God. Those who try to harm a chosen one place themselves in direct opposition to the Lord, and this never ends well. In the story of Saul and David, we see this clearly. Saul, out of envy and fear, relentlessly pursued David, but every attempt to attack him resulted in more divine protection for David. In the end, it was Saul who lost everything. God does not leave unpunished those who dare to touch his chosen ones, because this goes against his plan and purpose. Beyond what we can see, there is a spiritual battle constantly taking place. The chosen face attacks that are not only physical, but also spiritual. God, as the absolute protector, sends his angels to fight alongside us and ensure our victory. Remember Elisha and his servant, surrounded by the enemy army. When Elisha prayed, God opened the servant's eyes to see the heavenly army that protected them. This story reminds us that even when we cannot see, God is acting in our favor. God is just and ensures that all acts against his chosen ones are dealt with rigorously. He knows the intentions of the heart and knows when someone acts with malice against you. Although at times it may seem that enemies prosper, God is in control and acts at the right time. He promised that those who persecute you will be shamed, and his promises never fail. This should bring peace to your heart because you do not have to fight alone. God is the one who fights for you. Knowing that God is your absolute protector means that you are never alone, even in the most difficult situations. He is in control of every detail of your life, working behind the scenes to ensure your safety and victory. The chosen have a target on their back, but they also possess the most powerful shield, the presence of God. Trust that he is always one step ahead, preparing the way and destroying any trap set against you. When God protects a chosen one, he not only blesses that person, but also gives a testimony to the world. The people around you will see that there is something different about you, something powerful that goes beyond human understanding. Your life will be living proof that God is faithful and takes care of those who are called by his name. This protection, besides bringing safety, strengthens the faith of others and glorifies God, showing that he is worthy of all trust and worship. From the moment you were born, God placed a mantle of protection over you. Many times, you went through situations that seemed impossible to overcome, but something happened and saved you from the worst. Perhaps it was a last-minute change, an unexpected person who came to help, or even a delay that, at the time, you didn't understand but ended up saving your life. These moments are not coincidences. They are clear evidence that divine protection is active in your journey as a chosen one. God acts silently but with a powerful purpose, so that nothing can interrupt the destiny He has prepared for you. One of the greatest signs that God is working in your life is the repeated patterns of deliverance. Think of the times you were about to make a decision that could have had disastrous consequences, but something stopped you. Maybe a door closed, but that was because God knew it was not the right path for you. As a chosen one, it is essential to learn to recognize these divine interventions. They are like spiritual markers left by God to show you that He is taking care of you every step of the way, even when you can't see it. God not only protects the chosen ones, He also fights their battles. Maybe you have faced attacks that seemed insurmountable, coming from people or situations that wanted to bring you down. But what many do not realize is that, in attacking a chosen one, they are actually challenging God Himself. The Bible reminds us of this in passages like, "The battle is not yours, but God's," 2 Chronicles 20 verse 15. While you remain faithful and confident, God works behind the scenes, tearing down walls, silencing accusations, and even turning enemies into lessons to strengthen your walk. One of the most powerful ways to identify divine protection is to feel the presence of the Holy Spirit. He acts as an internal guide, warning you of dangers and showing you the safe path. Have you ever had that inexplicable feeling that something wasn't right, and then realized that following that intuition avoided a major problem? That is the Holy Spirit protecting you. As a chosen one, you have access to this level of spiritual guidance. All you need to do is be attentive and willing to listen to this voice that comes directly from God. Starting the day with powerful declarations is an effective way to activate divine protection. When you wake up and say, "No weapon formed against me shall prosper," you are affirming God's power over your life. These words are not just phrases, they carry spiritual weight. They create an invisible shield that blocks attacks, envy, and negative energies. This simple practice, done with faith, can transform your day, strengthening your connection with the divine and ensuring that you are spiritually protected at all times. Prayer is the key that opens the doors of divine protection. When you come before God in humility and trust, something incredible happens. He sends angels to guard you. That is why you should have a routine of prayer, especially when facing challenges. Praying not only brings comfort and peace, but also activates spiritual movement in your favor. Chosen ones who pray constantly are surrounded by a light that repels evil and attracts the divine presence. Never underestimate the power of a sincere prayer. It is one of the strongest weapons you can use. Being a chosen one does not mean you are immune to attacks, but it means you have God's protection. When someone tries to harm you, whether through words, actions, or even negative thoughts, God turns that into a blessing. However, it is important that you keep your faith and do not react with hatred or revenge. The best way to deal with these attacks is to give them to God. He has a greater plan, and often what seems like an attack is just a way to strengthen you and prepare you for something greater. When someone touches a chosen one, God acts justly and relentlessly. He is a God of love, but also a God of justice. Anyone who tries to harm you is actually planting seeds of consequences for themselves. But remember, you do not need to worry about seeking revenge or justice. God takes care of that for you. What He asks is that you remain faithful, confident, and focused on your purpose. He will turn every injustice into a powerful testimony for your life. If you still doubt the power of divine protection, remember stories you have heard or lived. Perhaps you escaped an accident, overcame an illness, or received help at the exact moment you needed it most. These testimonies are proof that God never abandons His chosen ones. Share these stories with others, as they not only strengthen your faith, but also inspire others to recognize God's hand in their lives. Divine protection is real and present in every detail of your journey. As a chosen one, you have a special calling, but it also comes with the responsibility of living aligned with God's will. When you choose to follow the divine path, you activate a level of protection that goes beyond the physical. It is a protection that encompasses your mind, heart, and spirit. This does not mean you will not face difficulties, but it means that in every battle, you will never be alone. Trust in divine protection, declare it daily, and see how God transforms your life in a powerful and undeniable way. From the moment you were chosen, a special protection began to surround your life. This force is not something we can see or touch, but its effects are powerful and transformative. God not only chose you for a divine purpose, but also enveloped you with a spiritual shield that acts silently, yet relentlessly against any threat. Those who try to touch you, chosen one, are touching what God has sanctified to fulfill His will, and the consequences of this are inevitable. When someone acts against a chosen one, the universe, guided by divine justice, takes action to restore balance. This is not about revenge or gratuitous punishment, but about a natural response to the created imbalance. God is a God of justice, and He does not allow unjust attacks against His chosen ones to go unnoticed. This spiritual law is clear. What is done to a chosen one returns to the perpetrator, often in an even more intense way. Touching a chosen one is much deeper than it seems. It's not just about hurting a person, it's an attack on the divine plan that this person carries. When someone tries to interfere with the destiny of a chosen one, they are actually opposing God's will. And who can withstand the power of the Creator? The battle is not against flesh and blood, but against spiritual forces far beyond our understanding. God does not act out of revenge because He is love. However, He is also a just God, and divine justice demands that things be put in their rightful place. When a chosen one is attacked, God intervenes not because He wants to punish, but because He needs to protect the mission He entrusted to that person. It's like a general who does not leave one of his most valuable soldiers unprotected on the battlefield. Chosen one, know this: when someone hurts you, tries to discredit you, or hinder your path, the entire universe works to realign things. Not because you asked for it, but because you are part of a greater purpose. And any deviation that they try to cause in your path will be corrected, even if it means reversing the consequences on those who harmed you. What God has prepared for you is non-negotiable. God, in His infinite mercy, always gives signs for people to understand the error before they face the consequences. But often, the arrogance or ignorance of those who oppose a chosen one makes them ignore these warnings. When this happens, the weight of the consequences falls on them. And these consequences are not only physical but also spiritual, emotional, and even financial. God always protects His own. The Bible is full of examples of how God acts to protect His chosen ones. Joseph was sold into slavery by his own brothers, but God turned that betrayal into a stepping stone for His exaltation in Egypt. David was pursued by Saul, but God never allowed evil to prevail against him. Just as God did in the past, He continues to do today. Those who touch a chosen one, even without realizing it, are touching the very divine plan. Chosen one, perhaps you have felt vulnerable or even abandoned in moments of pain. But know that the suffering you faced was not a sign that God left you. On the contrary, it was spiritual training to make you stronger. Meanwhile, those who tried to bring you down have already begun to experience the consequences of their actions. You are protected even when you don't realize it. The consequences that fall on those who attack a chosen one have a greater purpose. God does not act just to correct but to transform. Often, those who harmed a chosen one end up being confronted with spiritual truth, which can lead them to a change in life. God even uses the consequences as a means to bring awareness and repentance. Chosen one, understand this: you are precious to God. When someone tries to harm you, they are opposing the Creator Himself. And the consequences of this are so powerful that they often leave these people speechless. Therefore, do not worry about repaying the evil done to you. Trust in God and stay firm in your purpose. What He does in your defense is far more powerful than anything you can imagine. As a chosen one of the most important lessons you can learn is the power of surrendering your battles to God. Often, we feel compelled to fight with our own strength, trying to resolve everything on our own. However, true victory comes when we understand that we do not have to carry this burden alone. God is the infinite source of power and wisdom, and He is willing to intervene in your life as long as you allow Him to. Surrendering is not a sign of weakness, but of faith and trust in the divine plan. When you stop fighting alone, something extraordinary happens. Miracles begin to manifest. This does not mean you will never face challenges. On the contrary, they will come. But the difference lies in how you handle them. By trusting your struggles to God, you make room for Him to act, guiding you to solutions you might never have imagined. God does not ignore the pains of His chosen ones. He transforms each struggle into a testimony, each tear into strength. Prayer is the bridge that connects you to the divine. A simple yet powerful practice is to start and end your day by giving everything to God. Take a few minutes in silence. Close your eyes and visualize your worries being placed in God's hands. Say in prayer, Lord, I acknowledge that I cannot fight alone. I hand over my battles to you, trusting that you are my refuge and strength. Take control, and let your will be done. Repeat this until you feel your heart lighten. This practice, done with faith, is transformative. In addition to prayer, meditation is an incredible tool to strengthen your spiritual connection. Find a quiet place, sit comfortably, and breathe deeply. As you inhale, visualize God's light filling your entire being. As you exhale, imagine your worries leaving you like dark smoke. Repeat in your mind, I trust in you, Lord. You are my shield and my strength. Do this for at least 10 minutes daily. You will feel an indescribable peace and be more prepared to face any adversity. One of the greatest difficulties for the chosen is dealing with time. We want our answers and solutions to come immediately. However, God's timing is perfect. When you surrender your battles to Him, you must also trust in His wisdom to act at the right moment. Sometimes what seems like a delay is actually God preparing something much greater than you imagine. Patience and faith go hand in hand in the process of surrender. Besides prayer and meditation, declaring words of victory is an essential practice. What you say has power, especially when you speak with faith. Proclaim daily, I am chosen by God. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. God fights my battles, and victory is certain. These declarations align your mind and spirit with God's promises, strengthening your faith and confidence in difficult times. Often, when facing challenges, we forget to be grateful for what we already have. Gratitude is a powerful tool to transform your mental and spiritual state. Even in the midst of difficulties, thank God for His protection, love, and care. Say, thank you, Lord, because I know that even now, while facing this battle, you are with me, and victory is already mine. This attitude of gratitude opens doors for more blessings and strengthens your faith. As a chosen one, it is essential to keep your environment aligned with your spirituality. Avoid people, content, or situations that feed doubt or negativity. Replace them with praise, uplifting readings, and moments of fellowship with others who share the same faith. Your spirit needs to be surrounded by positive energies and spiritual reinforcements to face adversities firmly and confidently. Every struggle you face has a purpose. As a chosen one, you do not go through trials without reason. God uses challenges to shape your character, strengthen your faith, and prepare you for something greater. Remember this, those who touch you touch the apple of God's eye. Your battles are not just yours, they are opportunities for the divine power to be manifested in an extraordinary way in your life. Never forget that as a chosen one, victory is already guaranteed. Surrendering your battles to God is not just an act of trust, but a declaration that you believe in His sovereign power. When you allow God to fight for you, no one can win against you. So live with this certainty, you are not alone. God is by your side, fighting silently, and preparing a future of victory and abundance for your life. These combined steps are powerful tools for you to overcome any adversity and live your purpose as a chosen one to the fullest. Forgiveness is one of the most sublime and powerful tools a chosen one can wield. It is not an act of weakness, but an expression of spiritual strength. When you forgive someone who hurt you, you free yourself from the weight of resentment and bitterness that can imprison your mind and spirit. Furthermore, forgiveness is like a light that dissipates darkness, disarming the enemy on levels far beyond what is visible. It breaks cycles of negativity and prevents destructive energy from staying in your life, ensuring you remain on the path of divine purpose. When you forgive, the chosen one experiences profound inner renewal. Resentment and hatred corrode the soul, while forgiveness restores harmony and peace. God teaches us not to seek revenge, but to let Him be the judge of all things. This act of surrender not only shows trust in God, but also allows you to focus on what truly matters, fulfilling your purpose. When the heart is free of grudges, you become more receptive to God's voice and the blessings He has for your life. Forgiveness is a way to disarm the enemy, as they expect you to react with anger, resentment, or revenge. These feelings only fuel the cycle of negativity, strengthening the influence of evil. However, forgiveness confuses and disarms those who attack you, as they do not know how to react to such grace. Additionally, by forgiving, you prevent others' actions from defining who you are. This strengthens your identity as a chosen one and demonstrates the superiority of the spiritual values you carry. The act of forgiving does not mean you are ignoring or justifying the wrong done to you. On the contrary, it is an act of absolute trust in God as the just judge. He knows all things, including the hidden intentions of hearts. By forgiving, you hand justice over to him, allowing divine transformation to work in the life of the person who attacked you. Remember, vengeance belongs to God, and he will know the right moment and way to deal with those who touch his chosen ones. Forgiveness not only disarms the enemy, but also protects the chosen one from one of the greatest spiritual poisons, bitterness. This negative emotion has the power to root deeply, affecting your relationships, health, and connection with God. When you choose to forgive, you are raising a shield against bitterness and telling the enemy they will have no power over your life. This is an act of true spiritual freedom, something God desires for all his chosen ones. Being chosen means bearing the responsibility of representing divine values, including the balance between justice and mercy. God does not wish to destroy those who hurt you, but to transform them. When you forgive, you are collaborating with the divine plan for the redemption of these people. Your attitude may be the key for the enemy to see their errors and seek transformation. This does not mean you should expose yourself to danger again, but you can offer forgiveness without giving up wisdom and discernment. Each time you forgive, a powerful energy is released. It is as if a weight is lifted off your shoulders, allowing you to move forward more lightly toward your purpose. More than that, forgiveness is a declaration of faith and power, demonstrating that you are not bound by others' offenses. It reflects the strength of someone who fully trusts in God's protection and justice, knowing that nothing happens without his permission. Forgiveness is not just a human act, but a reflection of God's nature. He forgives us daily, even when we do not deserve it, and calls us to do the same. When you forgive, you are opening the doors to divine reconciliation, both for yourself and for the one who offended you. This reconciliation may not happen immediately or visibly, but you are sowing the seeds of something greater, something beyond your understanding. Often, the wounds caused by offenses can affect not only the spirit, but also the body. Studies show that feelings of resentment and hatred are linked to various health conditions, while forgiveness has a healing effect. In the spiritual realm, it is even more evident. By forgiving, you make room for divine peace and healing to enter your life. This is an essential step for you to continue firmly in your purpose as a chosen one. As a chosen one, you are called to be an example for others, showing that it is possible to live according to divine principles even in the face of adversity. Forgiveness is one of the most impactful ways to demonstrate this. It is not just a spiritual weapon, but a message of hope and transformation for those who still live in darkness. By forgiving, you are not only protecting your soul, but also illuminating the way for others to find God's truth and grace. When God chooses someone, that person not only carries a special purpose, but also receives protection that transcends human understanding. It is as if an invisible wall surrounds you, preventing attacks from prospering. The people who try to harm you may not even understand where the strength that keeps you standing comes from, but this is the clear manifestation of God's power in your life. He is by your side, fighting for you, even when you do not realize it. It is a protection so powerful that it confuses those who dare to attack you. God is just, and his justice never fails. He knows the heart of each one, and can distinguish who supports you and who plots against you. For those who rise against the chosen ones, the consequences are inevitable. It's not just about punishment, but about a lesson that reveals the error in their actions. Often, God allows the enemies to see the impact of their attitudes as a way to teach them to respect what is divine. It's not just about you, it's about God's greater plan. What may seem like a momentary defeat is, in fact, a divine strategy to take you to a higher level. God even uses the attacks against you to shape, strengthen, and transform your life into a living testimony of his power. Every blow you suffer becomes an opportunity for God's glory to manifest. In the end, the enemies end up being instruments in fulfilling his purpose, even if they don't realize it immediately. And now, the answer you were waiting for. What does God do to those who touch a chosen one? God not only protects them, he transforms them into witnesses of his power. Those who attack you are forced to recognize the divine purpose in your life, directly or indirectly. This may happen immediately or over time, but the result is always the same. They are led to see that you are not alone, and that there is something greater operating in your life. One of the greatest testimonies of God's power is the transformation he works in those who oppose the chosen ones. Often, those who attacked you end up becoming someone who admires and respects the strength they see in you. God has the power to break pride and resistance, showing that no one can prevail against a chosen one. Those who try to bring you down end up learning profound lessons, and sometimes become allies in your journey. The consequences for those who touch a chosen one are inevitable. Not because you wish harm on these people, but because God is zealous for his own. He allows each action against you to have a proportional return, not as revenge, but as correction. This is a way for God to show that he is in control and that no one can go against the plans he has established. These lessons are profound and often transformative. When you remain firm in the midst of adversity, you become a living reflection of God's glory. Your resilience, your faith, and your ability to move forward are undeniable signs that God is with you. This disturbs those who try to harm you, but it also serves as proof to everyone around you that there is something special about you. It is impossible to ignore the light you carry, and that light is a direct manifestation of God's presence. Every battle you face has already been won by God before it even started. He is ahead, opening paths, closing doors that do not lead to purpose, and protecting you from invisible traps. When you trust in him, there is no enemy that can prevail. Even when it seems that everything is lost, God is working behind the scenes, preparing your victory in a way that will be impossible to ignore. No attack can extinguish the light that God has placed in you. This light is your identity as a chosen one, and it shines even brighter when you face challenges. Always remember this: what God has placed in you is untouchable. No matter what others try to do to diminish or harm you, your essence is protected. You were created to be a living testimony of divine power, and no one can change that. Light is untouchable, and you are never alone. God is ahead of every battle, and victory is certain. All you need to do is remain firm, trust in him, and continue following the path he has laid out for you. No matter how difficult the journey seems, God never abandons you. He turns every obstacle into an opportunity, and every attack into a testimony. You are chosen, and that is more powerful than any force that tries to bring you down. You are not alone, and God will never allow evil to prevail against you. If this message resonated in your heart, share in the comments how God has protected you in difficult times. Your story can inspire others to trust more in divine justice. Thank you for staying with me until now. If this content resonated in your heart, follow the channel, like, and share this video with those who can also relate. Write in the comments, "I am protected by God," as an act of faith. And remember, no evil will prosper against you. If you want to discover the secret that was kept for you, watch the next video and understand. Click now.